So a chance to to see your team get in this environment. Hearing you're quite the gym rat in there.
Well, I mean, I obviously I love the game. Those guys have worked really, really hard, leading up to this, and it's been enjoyable to watch them play. Certainly when you don't have that much practice time, there's a lot of corrections and stuff that we can make from the film. And the one thing is good is playing the first day and then having a day off, able to make some corrections. I think they improved in some areas, and hopefully as the week goes on, they can continue to get better.
You got a lot of your veterans out here too, getting a chance for them to get to know you and you them. How much you're learning about your guys?
Well, I think the one thing that's been helpful is being in Oklahoma City in the beginning of May. I've had a chance to spend enough time with all those guys, which has been great. And I think for Kevin to be here and Anthony and Dion is great. I think it's great for the guys that are playing just from a support standpoint and getting a chance to spend some more time with those guys as well. And then a lot of those guys have been through Oklahoma City at different points in time here in the spring and the summer, and been able to work with some of them and get on the floor with some of them. And that's been very, very positive.
Kevin said you were working him out. When you're working Kevin Durant out, what are you trying to do with him?
Well, right now I think the biggest thing for him that I'm happy for him is it's been a long recovery, so to speak, because he really hasn't been able to do anything basketball-wise. He had a boot on, and then he got the boot off, and then was able to do some shooting. So I think he's excited that he can take a basketball, he can go out there. Obviously, the doctors are making all the decisions on what he can do, but just to get out there with him and be able to rebound for him and just talk to him about his shooting and things that he's trying to get back in rhythm. That's the biggest thing right now, is just him trying to get back into a rhythm and a flow for himself. But I think he's been encouraged. One is I think his rehab's going very well, and then I think the other part of it that's going well is that he's at least been able to pick up a basketball and shoot some, where that's probably was very, very distant from his mindset several weeks ago. And now that he's doing it, I think it's really helped him.
Is it helping you create a bond with him?
Well, Kevin is a great kid. And I say kid, great guy. I mean, he's. I've really enjoyed being around him, and certainly his basketball ability and talents speak for themselves. But just having a chance to be around him, on a different level, he's just an incredible person. I think the game is very important to him. His teammates are very important to him. I think he's a guy that leads by example in terms of his work ethic. His work ethic is phenomenal. I give him credit. He's in that facility every day, and he's doing his rehab. He's doing his lifting, and he gets a certain allotment of time he can be on the court shooting. And he's really, besides as a player, I really have enjoyed getting to know him more and more and developing a relationship with him. And I think as it relates to all his success on the court, I can say equally as much he's that much of a quality person.
What do you think it says about your organization that Kevin and Amo and Dion are here, Summer League, supporting the guys? I mean, what do you think that says about them?
Well, I think it's great that they can do that, and as I mentioned earlier, just to be out there for those guys. They were around some of the practices. Kevin was, because he was back in OKC. But then for Dion to come in, for a couple days, same thing with Anthony. It's great to have those guys around just from a support standpoint and spend time with them. And I think it speaks volumes about those guys, that they would take enough interest in wanting to be here and be part of this.
What would you like that you saw from Mitch in this game and in these two games?
Well, the thing I really excited about for Mitch is, what he's been able to do with his body. He's probably dropped about 27 pounds. He's in really, really good shape. He's worked really hard, and he's had a very, very good off season. And I thought the other night there were some things he wanted to get better at, things he wanted to improve on. And I really thought he put his mind and focus on those things. He scored the ball a little bit better tonight, but I thought his energy, his intensity, things that he did was really positive. But coming off of somewhat of an injury and now being cleared to play, I think him getting back on the court playing as well has been really, really good. But the biggest thing I think Mitch has done of why he's moving so much better is what he's done with his body.
Billy, how do you think, not having to focus on recruiting and other things that you had to focus on at the college level, how does that change sort of what your schedule is like these days and just sort of your approach in general to coaching? Are there things you can get to now maybe that you couldn't get to?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think, time is time, so to speak. When you're in a job, sometimes your time gets occupied in different ways. For me right now, getting acclimated to OKC, meeting all the people in the organization, trying to build relationships with those people, having to hire a staff and get that in place. having to travel and spend some time with some players, develop relationships with those guys, and spend time with those guys. That's been important. So, from a time standpoint, there's been a lot to do and a lot to get familiar with since being there. But I think, at the college level, you're dealing with a totally different set of circumstances. You know what I mean? It's just, they're just different, so to speak. And it's been, it was enjoyable to be able to get on the court. I really enjoyed that leading up to Summer League, to be out there with those guys, to be able to, get on the floor with Kevin and Robertson, and some of the different guys that have been in OKC. That's been fun. So, you're working, but it's obviously a lot different in terms of where and when your time is spent.
I know that you had a lot of conversations with coaches over the years at the pro level, to Eric Spoelstra and others. What did you I know they were learning from you, but you were also getting something from them. What did you kind of get out of those conversations as you go to the pro level now?
Well, I've always been somebody that's always tried to learn, and I think here in the state, having someone like Eric, who's been with the Miami Heat organization for so long and being around him for so many years and developing a relationship with him, I think being able to talk basketball, share basketball, there's certain things I think in the NBA game that translate into college, and there's other things that really don't translate. And I think that because the NBA coaches are spending 24 hours a day on basketball, I think there's a lot of innovative, creative ideas that a lot of those coaches have. And I've always been very, very interested in learning and finding out more and growing as a coach. And I've just been fortunate just through the years having some different relationships with different guys that they've taken time to spend time with me. And, I've been able to grow and get better as a coach.
You mentioned hiring a staff that's been announced now. What are you excited about just in terms of being able to work with the group that you have assembled?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think we have really, really good people. Monty Williams, obviously being a head coach in this league and a player in this league, an incredible person. I thought he did an incredible job in New Orleans. Mo Cheeks, another guy that's won a world championship as a player, has been a head coach at two different places, has been an assistant coach, has some familiarity with OKC, earlier in his time with the organization. Mark Bryant, again, I think with our front court players, he's got an incredible bond with those guys. They have a lot of respect for him and the work that he's put in with those guys. Darko, who's coaching the Summer League team right now, is another guy that kind of came up through the D League and now was behind the bench a year ago, and just an incredible worker and very, very knowledgeable. And then Anthony Grant, who I've known for a long, long time and trust him a great deal. So I really feel good about the people that we have there. I think we're working well together. I think it's been a very, very good group in terms of there's a lot of experience, there's a lot of knowledge. I think we all can make each other better. We all can grow from each other. So at least finalizing the staff and now being able to get on the floor with Summer League and coach together and work together, it's been really positive so far.
Coach, how important was that for you to get experienced guys next to you?
Well, I mean, I think the one thing I've always felt like is first and foremost is, getting guys that have incredible humility. I think that's really important. I liken it to even when I was at Florida, when I hired Larry Shyatt. He was an experienced coach that had done it for a long time and was a head coach at Clemson for a while. And I think anytime you can bring experience at any level, it definitely helps you. I think Monty's course and track as a player and a coach has brought a wealth of experience to him. Mo Cheeks is course and track as a coach and player has brought a wealth of experience to him. Same thing with Mark Bryant. Same thing with Anthony Grant being a head coach. That's the one thing, is that when you have people that have these different experiences and you get together, I think we all have experiences in our life that we can share and we can help each other get better in. So I've always been a big believer of having people that are really experienced, around you and with you, because it brings just a plethora of ideas and suggestions and different things to be able to think about and to talk about as a staff.
Coach,
Ladies first.
Thank you. We're here in Orlando. There's a lot of Gators around here. We're very curious to see how you do. They're rooting for you. What does that mean to you, and what will your connection be with Florida for the rest of your life, I guess?
Well, I love the University of Florida. Always have, always will. I spent 19 years of my life there, pretty much my whole entire family, my children, that's all they know. I'll always be indebted and grateful to Jeremy Foley and to the university for giving me an incredible opportunity at a very, very young age. And my heart will always have a place there. It was an incredible experience, an incredible run for me, and just being able to be a part of so many great people and so many great players over the years was really, for me, very, very special.
Billy, along those lines, given your relationship with Sam, I know you guys have had a lot of time together over the years. Is this the kind of situation beyond the talent that Oklahoma City has to have a relationship with a guy like Sam you're going to work with? That was the only kind of thing you were going to leave Gainesville for?
Well, I think Sam even being in San Antonio and coming through Florida, and once you start practicing, I think this is the same on all college campuses. You have a lot of people that are scouting in front office that come through to watch practices and stuff, and known Sam over the years. I think the biggest thing for me in the decision was I really felt like when I took the job at Florida, I felt like I was really aligned with Jeremy Foley and his vision. And I think a lot of times in job situations, you want to make sure that's the case. And Sam, I thought, when the first time we really sat down and talked about this, he really laid out what the organization stood for, what it was about, what the core values about, what he envisioned going forward, how he wanted to go forward, things that were important to him as a general manager. And I identify with all those things, and I felt aligned with those things. And I think I shared a lot of those same values, with Sam. So I think that was first and foremost the most important thing to me is I think anytime you're working with somebody, are you always going to agree on everything? No. Are there going to be some differences? But at the core of it, we're moving in the same direction. And I felt like with Sam that was really going to be the case. And, Mr. Bennett, the owner, same thing. It's been a great experience for me up to this point in time. The people have been wonderful, and they really have helped me in my transition a great deal.